Hi folks, Neil Barker at AppleiPodParts.com here, and today we're going to show you how to replace the battery in your iPhone 5. Here we have an iPhone 5. It's all good apart from the fact that the battery doesn't last very long, so we're going to do a battery replacement. First of all, the tools we're going to need are this crosshead Phillips screwdriver, a plastic non-marking tool. These are sacrificial, they will break before your phone does, before it damages your phone. A Torx screwdriver, a pentalobe Torx screwdriver, 5-star, whatever you want to call it, and the famous iSesamo, which we helped the guys in Italy develop back in the day. They are absolutely fantastic. And finally, a screw separator tray. This allows you to keep all the screws separate from each other. And you get all those tools from our website, AppleiPodParts.com, and of course the parts that you need, including our genuine batteries, which we sell absolutely thousands of. They're world renowned. So here we go. First of all is power off the iPhone 5 as you would normally, and wait for it to finally switch off. We are using anti-static wristbands as we always do, anti-static mat beneath it, just to take the proper precautions because you never know what you can do. You need to ground yourself to the phone. So the two 5-star pentalobe Torx screws in the bottom, we're going to use our special screwdriver to undo those. Be careful, obviously, if yours has been opened before, if there's any sign of wear in those screws, you probably want to replace them, just because if they get too worn, you won't be able to get them out in future. We use the iSesamo because it's really thin and flexible, and it won't do too much damage. Right at the bottom, and we just kind of, it goes in there without bending any aluminium casing, and we lift it gently, and all you're left with is you lift the bottom, is that the phone should release. And right at the bottom, on the left and the right, there's a couple of clips there. So we're going to go for that screen connector bracket here, and there's 3 screws that we're pointing out just here to lift this little bracket out. So while supporting the screen, we're going to go in with our little Phillips screwdriver and take those 3 screws out. Now we will use this separator tray for all of these to make sure that we know exactly where they come from and that they go back in. This is absolutely critical because one of those screws, and it's we've seen a lot of cases of this, if you put the wrong screw depth in, even by 1/2 mil, it will scratch the top of the board and it will literally cut one of the circuit tracks in the board, almost invisible to the eye as well, and it will render your iPhone useless. You have to put the right screws in the right places where they came out of. It is absolutely critical. So we lift the bracket out there, as you can see. There's a little bit of a clip one side, and you just lift it out as we did there, and you're left with the connections. We're going to quickly ping the connectors up using this plastic non-marking tool and just gently lifting them up. You don't need any force or pressure at all. My colleague Damien here is making it look easy. He does so many of these every day of his working life at the moment. So you know, we repair literally hundreds a week. So just take your time. You don't have to do it as quick as we do. Take your, you know, but as we always say on my guides, if you have to force something, then it's not good. Take a breather. Try again in a bit. We're going to isolate the obviously undo the battery as well, and again separating the screws out. There's these. They're 2 brackets actually, 3 screws. 1 screw goes through both brackets. We're going to undo those 3 brackets. The brackets, they're like plates, aren't they? My mistake. Sorry, we're only going to take 1 out, and that is the lower one. So you're going to take the middle screw and the bottom screw out, and the top bracket can remain in place. And that will have access then to the battery connector, which we're going to lift just like that in the same way that we did the RCD connections. Now these batteries can be quite stubborn. You have the pull tag there that sometimes will allow you to lift your battery out. But if it doesn't shift, then you can use different things. Now I'm going to freeze frame this here because I need to go into a bit of detail about exactly what we're going to do there. Now my colleague Damien, obviously he knows exactly what he's doing, and this won't take him long at all to get this battery out. Some can be extremely stubborn. The adhesive can be really tricky to get off. Now we've got this this steel pry tool. The iSesamo will do, even plastic pry tools will do, but they will break doing it. Now you need to break the bond. The best way of doing it, if yours is really stubborn, is to gently warm it and to make sure that the heat is going through to the adhesive, because that's how you can break the adhesive quite easily. But if you can't, I mean, that's kind of a last resort. Other than that, you see here, obviously he's prying it out. This battery isn't going to be too stubborn. It won't let you do the pull cord as per the little plastic tag, but he manages to lift it out quite straight away. Now, he is being careful. Doesn't look like it. He's used to doing so many of these. But if this doesn't work in one position, you do not want to be bending your casing or marking it or anything like that. So go round it with a tool, literally. And what you've also got to be aware of is you don't want to puncture the battery, because if you're not replacing the battery, you're doing a strip down, you do not want to put any puncture marks in this battery at all, any tears or anything like that, because it will render the battery useless. You know, it's not going to explode or anything like that, but it will start to give off a smell of lithium, and which isn't great, probably not healthy for you, and the battery will eventually just cease to exist. It will die. So be really careful, not damaging your phone, not damaging your battery. Work your way around, and never, ever, ever, ever lever off of the other side of that battery that you can see to that tool, because you will damage your board. You will knock a chip off, and that will be it. So always use the bit on the side towards your phone. Do not, at the edge of your phone, sorry, lever off the edge, but be careful not to damage the edge or the battery. That said, we'll continue the video. Just take it easy, take your time, and if you need to warm it up a bit, just do so. Even a hairdryer with a bit of patience on it, you know what, that will warm it enough to release it. So after my public service announcement, we continue. And as you can see, obviously the battery lifts out, and we've already disconnected it anyway. So it's all good, we're quite happy. Now the next thing to do is, obviously you're going to receive the new battery. You can get it from our site. You know, we've got an expose on batteries that you've probably seen. We sell absolutely thousands of these. We're out of stock quite frequently because we simply cannot keep up with demand. New battery comes out of this packet, and you're going to slot it in. Now the chances are the adhesive there is enough there to hold your battery in. If not, then we do the adhesive on our site, so you can get that. Position the battery in lightly, but don't pen it in just yet. Put the connector on first, and then let the battery find itself, because if you put the battery in and it's out, the connector's not going to reach, or it's going to be crinkled, or the cable's not going to be great. Right, so once that's sorted, we're going to go in with the bracket that we removed from there. So we're going to place that onto the connector. That we've firmly pressed down the connector. We know it's in place. We're happy that it's in situ. You could always, you know, just sort of have a double check. But yeah, once that's there, we're going to put the screws in. Now we've used our screw separator tray to separate, to make sure we know exactly what screw goes in where. And we're going to put those in with a little bit of a nip up on the screwdriver, not too tight, and then again not loose. So once that's there, the screen comes on. We're going to place the screen back on. Now I always say that we can put the screen on now. Now I'll freeze frame this and go into a little bit more detail while we do this. But basically, with the connectors, you want to hold the screen almost 90 degrees to the base of the phone with one hand, and then the connectors, because they've already been there before, they'll pretty much find their own way home. But what you need to do, and I always say this about this type of connectors, is you use your finger and you almost, in a kind of a very, very tiny circular motion, and I'm talking tiny, is you're feeling the connector to its home. What you'll do is you'll move it around to the point where you'll feel it kind of engage, and then it's hard to explain, but then once you've felt that it's somewhere near, you just put a little bit of pressure down and you'll feel a positive click as the connector goes in. Then just run your finger along the connector to make sure that it's in at both ends and it's not half sticking out. If in doubt, never ever ever force it. I always say that. Go away if you're losing patience with it, have a cup of coffee, come back. You know, it's not worth breaking because you can cause a phenomenal amount of damage. Yeah, so you find the connection, they'll find their own way home, and then you just add the pressure to do that. So carry on, and we put those connectors down as I described, and then the plate goes on over top. So it kind of hooks in from the battery to the side of the phone. There's a tiny little hook in the side of the plate where there are no screws, and as we said before, we know exactly what screws are going to go in where. So once it's positioned, you kind of need to hold it down with your left hand. It really is tricky holding the screen up, but you have to do that, otherwise the connectors will ping out. And then you go for the screws one by one, correct screws in the correct places, otherwise world of pain. So yeah, in fact that's an equation almost, isn't it? Correct screws in, you know, plus correct places equals no ball ache. So there we go, the 3 screws will go in. And that's pretty much it, to be honest. Once you've got these 3 screws in, you're into laying the screen down, and then power it up, make sure it works, and then fitting the 2 security or the pentaload screws in at the bottom. And when all goes well, you should have that new battery in your phone. As I always say, you can get the parts and the tools from our site, AppleiPodParts.com. But not only that, you can get the advice. You know, we've got guys, we've got technicians that do this inside out, upside down, every single day. You know, we repair commercially, domestically, as well as supplying all the parts. We use our own parts. We know exactly what we got and what we use, what we have. If there's ever a rough batch that we don't like, we send it back. We simply don't use it. We don't sell it. Yeah, so AppleiPodParts.com for everything. You need advice? Use the contact us link, the red link on the left hand side of the page, or give us a call, office hours, you know, weekdays 9 till 5 p.m. Or just send us a contact message. We'll get back to you as soon as we can. So there you go, screen's powered on, so we know the battery's connected, the screen's connected, and all the screws are in place, nothing left over, so we're happy. So there you go, enjoy your replacement battery, and thank you for watching. My name's Neil Barker, and we are AppleiPodParts.com.